This week on the Green Wave Report, the first part of our analysis of the spring football scrimmage, and we waste no time. We're talking quarterback. A look at Tulane baseball as it falls in a key series in Boca Raton. More basketball transfer activity in Uptown, and beach volleyball extends its coach's contract. Welcome to our regular edition of the Green Wave Report from ONSI Tulane. I'm Doug Joubert. The Green Wave Report is a weekly rundown of stories we put together, analysis of what went on, and what you can expect later in the week from ONSI Tulane, part of the Sports Illustrated Network. If you like what we produce each week, we'd appreciate it if you'd like our stories and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us in knowing what you like and what you don't like. We begin with Will Hall, finishing up his first spring football practice sessions this past Saturday with a scrimmage that was laced with practice drills. A crowd of almost 2,000 were in the east stands of Yulman Stadium to enjoy some big hits, big plays on both sides of the ball, and a drill called Red Zone Lockout that thrilled fans, coaches, and players combined. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll be giving our thoughts on specific areas of interest and concern as Hall ball takes shape. We begin with the one that has the biggest impact, quarterback. Last year at this time, the current Florida Gators coach, former Wave coach John Summerall, was not at all happy with his quarterback situation. The former Tulane head coach had looked in the transfer portal and had come up empty. It took ex-BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff's fall from grace in Provo, Utah for the Green Wave to luck into the kind of starter that made Summerall and his staff smile. Retzloff wasn't the perfect solution. He could run with the best of them. His accuracy required for the pro style of attack really wasn't there. This year's different. Will Hall and his staff say they like the quarterback room they have. For over half the spring, Caden Samanza and Zion Chris Gremio were the announced leaders for the starting spot. But now that spring practice is done, it doesn't feel like a two-man competition anymore. Neither Samanza nor Chris Gremio have set themselves apart from each other. In fact, some of the rest of the QB room has caught up to them. At the beginning of spring, true freshman Trace Johnson revealed plenty of promise as he showed the ability to scan the field, going through progressions rapidly. But Johnson also showed his age, or lack thereof, making rookie mistakes as the spring wore on, while others around him grew at a faster rate, especially Dagan Bruno. The redshirt sophomore has shown growth both as a passer and a decision-maker. Bruno has continuously received the praise of his head coach, enough for Will Hall to say the John Curtis product will be part of the quarterback equation this fall, something not said earlier this spring. During his part of the scrimmage, Bruno marched the Tulane offense down the field, going 4 for 4 passing and tossing a 35-yard touchdown for the first score of the day. If Bruno continues to improve at this rate that he did this spring, we would not be surprised to see him battling for the starting spot in the fall. Tulane baseball, a no-show on Friday night's opener at Florida Atlantic, falling 11-3. Hitting just didn't happen at the right time. Green Wave pitching couldn't stop the bleeding, giving up a dozen hits, walking 9. Things just started badly on Saturday, too. FAU opened up with a 10-2 lead before the Wave made a game of it, getting a solo homer late, and then scoring 6 runs in the top of the ninth before coming up a run short, the tying run standing at second base. Sunday's game had the Sluggerbirds living up to their name, building a 5-0 lead. The Owls got a little close, but then the Wave piled on 6 runs at the top of the ninth to run away with a 12-4 rout. If Jay Elman had any hair on his short-shorn head, he would have probably pulled it all out by now. Is the true Tulane team the one that showed up the previous 2 weekends, took 2 out of 3 from the likes of East Carolina and Wichita State? Or is it this weekend's version that couldn't get its hitting time just right or its pitching in sync for the most part against FAU? We still believe breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and that a good weekend starts with your team's efforts on Friday. And for most of the year, that has meant Trace Ahajic on the mound. The 6'8 graduate righty has just not shown consistency in the lead pitching role for almost 2 months now. Plus, former Sunday starter, now moved to Saturday starter, Jack Frankel, has not been to the mound in almost a month due to injury. And there's loads of other injuries to the pitching staff. The arms are just hard to be had. The hitting is sort of there, as they showed on Sunday. But when your former leadoff hitter and the second batter in your lineup are batting 141 and 140 respectively in American Conference games. Something's not right. Now, this is not a judgment at all of Jay Ullman as a coach. You have key components like Kai Harrison, Tanner Chun, Jason Wax, Nate Johnson, Matthias Haas, Hugh Pinckney returning to the lineup. That's huge. Then you add quality players like Trent Leolis, Johnny Elliott, Nolan Rocky, Ty Wood. That should make for a pretty solid backbone. But instead, Tulane is second from the bottom in the American and overall batting average. And things don't get any easier. The Green Wave will be in Hattiesburg Tuesday against nationally ranked Southern Miss, and then they host what we believe is the best team in the American Conference this year. That's coming in this weekend, UTSA. If there are any answers to the Jekyll and Hyde performance by Tulane, Ullman doesn't have a lot of time to find them, with just 4 weekends to figure things out. The Tulane basketball programs announced their first addition to the men's squad in the NCAA transfer portal. Shooting guard TJ Nadeau from Detroit Mercy has joined the Wave program. Nadeau hit almost 50% of his threes as a freshman at Detroit Mercy. Meanwhile, 2 more from the men's program left the nest last week. Guards Luke Rasmussen and Asher Wood have entered the portal. The Tulane beach volleyball team extended the contract of head coach E.L. Zimmett through the 2029-2030 academic year. The team has been one of the top programs in the South since Zimmett's arrival in 2019, including this year's 22-13 record. The beach volleyball team will be competing in the Conference USA tournament in Sugar Beach in Youngsville, Louisiana. That's a suburb of Lafayette. The first match for the 5th-seeded Wave is against 4th-seeded South Florida this Thursday, April 23rd. We hope you've enjoyed our regular edition of the Green Wave Report. Each Monday, we give you our analysis of what's going on in Tulane athletics. Unless there's some breaking news during the week, we'll see you back here next Monday at 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. I'm Doug Joubert.